anyone involved in Australian politics has an idea of the types of risks that they could face. Stories of corruption, sex scandals, and good old-fashioned betrayal often make their way into the headlines. One already rare element of public office that is almost unheard of in Australia is the assassination of politicians. However, on a Monday night in 1994, one such event did take place. During that evening, New South Wales Labor MP John Newman was shot dead in the driveway of his home. His fiancée, Lucy Wang, witnessed the whole horrific incident. Phuong Ngo, a political rival of Newman, was implicated in the assassination almost immediately. Though Newman had accused Ngo of associating with criminal gangs and drug trafficking, Ngo denied any links and claimed he had nothing to do with the shooting. Almost 7 years would pass before the truth behind John Newman's murder would finally be revealed. Born to Austrian and Yugoslav parents, John Newman immigrated to Australia with his family in 1950 at 4 years old. He went on to study at Sydney University and later became involved in unions and politics. Newman rose to prominence within the New South Wales Labor Party in the 1980s, first as Deputy Mayor of Cabramatta and then as a member of the New South Wales Parliament. His anti-crime stance would be a key theme of his election campaigns, and eliminating local gangs became a top priority. In the 1980s and 90s, the Sydney suburb of Cabramatta was seen by many as the heroin capital of Australia. People injecting and discarding needles became believable sights for anyone venturing its streets. Heroin was so predominant in Cabramatta that a train trip to the area became known as the Smack Express. The Cabramatta drug trade was presided over by the 5T gang, made up of children whose parents migrated to Australia in the wake of the Vietnam War. In addition to heroin trafficking, 5T were also responsible for extortion attempts, home invasions, and even murder. At their peak, they had over 200 members and outnumbered the local police force. Newman was so incensed by drugs and crime in Cabramatta that he directly confronted drug dealers and users on the street, encouraging them to turn their lives around or leave the suburb. He also placed ads in local newspapers and appeared on TV, threatening deportation for Asian gang members convicted of serious crimes. Newman even travelled to Los Angeles to see how its authorities dealt with street gangs, and constantly appealed to the New South Wales Parliament to take action in Cabramatta. Though Newman's stance had its supporters in the local community, it also made him enemies amongst local criminals and politicians. Like John Newman, Phuong Ngo migrated to Australia, fleeing Vietnam after the war and travelling by boat to Malaysia, before arriving in Australia as a refugee in 1982. Ngo settled in southwest Sydney, where he established a local Vietnamese newspaper. He then headed up the New South Wales Ethnic Affairs Commission, which helped fellow refugees start their new lives in Australia. Ngo was also elected Deputy Mayor of Fairfield, though his political ambitions extended beyond local government. In 1991, Phuong Ngo ran for the seat of Cabramatta as an independent candidate, but suffered a heavy loss to Newman. Ngo then joined the New South Wales Labor Party and began recruiting new members to bolster his internal support base. Though they were now part of the same political party, the conflict between Newman and Ngo only escalated. Ngo founded the Mekong Club of Cabramatta in 1993 and served as an honorary president. While he did not hold an official title, Ngo heavily influenced the hiring of club staff. Outwardly, the Mekong Club was a community centre, serving the local Southeast Asian population. However, Newman believes that Ngo was involved in local gangs using the club to plan their criminal activities. Newman ordered inspections to uncover evidence of illegal activity at the club, but found nothing that would result in criminal charges. The key meetings allegedly occurred at night, while club inspections took place during the day. The inspectors did discover some irregularities in how Ngo operated the club, which allowed them to ban him from holding positions at licensed venues. The rivalry between Newman and Ngo reached its peak during a debate over a proposed sister city arrangement for Cabramatta. Ngo campaigned for a partnership with Taiwan, an idea supported by most of his colleagues in the Labour Party. Newman took issue with this idea, claiming a relationship with China would serve them better due to the considerable Chinese population of the area. Newman also suspected that support for a Taiwanese sister city was motivated by the money Ngo could make from the arrangement, rather than any cultural exchange. Retaliation against Newman for his crime crusade only intensified after the sister city dispute. Unknown assailants shot at his electoral office, and his car was paint-bombed several times. He also received numerous death threats over the phone, with one stating, "First we paint your car, then we take your toenails, you die." His mother urged him to rein in his anti-crime crusade in the wake of the threats, but Newman refused. Ultimately, his refusal to back down and his conflict with Phuong Ngo may have led to his murder. On September 5, 1994, John Newman arrived home after a Labour Party meeting at Cabramatta Diggers Club. As he placed the cover over his car, a man standing at the front of the driveway opened fire. The shots caused Newman to spin around before falling to the ground, leaving his fiancée Lucy screaming for help. A neighbour, Derek Murphy, heard Lucy's screams and called emergency services, telling the operator that someone had just shot John Newman. He also described seeing a dark green or blue Ford Falcon moving away from the scene. Murphy approached Newman and noticed bullet holes underneath his left and right armpits. He and the police attending the scene tried to revive Newman, though all of their efforts could not save him. Newman died in the driveway of his own home. The assassination of John Newman was a shock to all levels of Australian politics. When asked about the shooting while on an official visit to Japan, Australian Prime Minister Paul Keating said he was deeply troubled by the incident. New South Wales Premier John Fahey said the murder of Newman had rightly outraged Australia and granted Newman a state funeral, a rare occurrence for a backbench MP. As the country reeled in the aftermath of the assassination, police began hunting for the people responsible. Though many suspects were known members of the criminal underworld, family and friends of Newman named Phuong Ngo as someone with the motive and resources to kill him. It would take several years and a combination of forensic evidence, phone technology, and witness testimony to secure a conviction. One weekend before the shooting, neighbours spotted a man resembling Ngo surveying the streets near the Newman home in a white car. Others noticed an identical car following the shooter's getaway vehicle on the night of the murder. Their descriptions of the white car matched those of the one used by Ngo at the Mekong Club. Ngo initially told police that he spent the night of the shooting at the Mekong Club before driving home, and claimed the phone calls he made from his car would prove this. Police looked at phone records and phone tower data to track Ngo's movements on the night, and discovered that some of the calls placed him in the area of the murder. Phone records also show Ngo driving towards a river near Voyager Point. Police dispatched divers to the area to investigate, theorising that Ngo went there to dump the murder weapon. They uncovered a Beretta pistol, caked in heavy rust from its time at the bottom of the river. Police sent the gun to a German ballistics expert for analysis. The decayed Beretta was too damaged to fire, but its firing pin was removed and fitted inside another Beretta. The alternate gun was fired and had its spent casings compared to those found at the scene of the murder. The markings left behind by the firing pin were a match. The expert concluded that it was highly likely that the Beretta found at Voyager Point was used to murder Newman. It would take the offer of immunity from prosecution to uncover vital information that secured the case against Ngo. One protected witness alleged that Ngo approached them to carry out the shooting, but they refused when told of their target. They also named others involved in the assassination, including the getaway driver. Another protected witness also claimed that there were attempts against Newman on 3 previous occasions. With these witness statements and other evidence, police charged Ngo with murder alongside the alleged gunman and getaway driver. In 2001, after a coronial inquiry and 2 aborted trials, a 3rd trial saw Phuong Ngo's associates acquitted of any involvement in the assassination, while Ngo himself was found guilty. Ngo was sentenced to life in prison without parole for conspiring to murder John Newman.